Okay, so now what I want to do is introduce classes, making custom classes. Okay, so what I need to do is first drag in the tree PNG just like before and the leaf PNG just like before. Okay, and so what I want to do is create a data type p-image just like in the last video, and we'll do another one here. I'm going to call that one BG. So we have two variables here, and they're just placeholders with no value right now. One I called IMG, and the one I called BG because I want to use it for the background. Okay? So let's go ahead and do the void setup. And we'll go ahead and do void draw too because we know we need it. Okay, so there's our void setup, and there's our void draw. Okay? All right. Now, let's see here. There's a few things that we're going to do that are just going to kind of be repeats from last time. For example, we're going to create the size of the window again, and it's going to be 600 by 600 because if you remember from the last video, my background image here is 600 by 600, and the background image that you use has to be the same size as the sketch window. Okay, so that's why we're doing that. Easy enough. Okay, now, image doesn't mean anything yet. It's just a placeholder. It's a placeholder of the type P image, so it can be an image. There's potential there. Same with background, all right? And so now let's go ahead and assign those variables to images, okay? So I'm going to, just like last time, go image equals load image, okay? And let's see, image is leaf.png, okay? Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing again. Again, this is a repeat from the last video. Okay. And this one will be tree.jpg. Okay. All right. Now that we've done that, we can actually call upon the background as we'll call upon in the BG image, which is tree.jpg, to be our background. Let's test it. Nothing's broke so far. Okay, that works. So, moving on. So, what we're going to do now is something a little bit different. I'm going to go up here to this little arrow. And if you're in an older version of processing, you might remember the arrow being over here. But I'm going to click on that and go to New Tab. And I'm going to call this tab Leaf. Okay? And the reason I'm calling it Leaf is because I want to create a class called Leaf. Okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a class. And the class will represent this leaf image and a little bit of functionality, and that'll all be wrapped up in a nice neat little package, and we're going to call that leaf. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and do that. So what we want to do first is type in class. It's nice and easy to create custom classes. We just type in class, okay, and leaf, open and close curly braces. Okay, all right, now so we have a class, and right now it's just called Leaf. So we're going to need to add a bunch of stuff to this so that we can use it, because right now this class is totally meaningless. All right, so I know I need some variables, and I'm going to create float variables, and these ones are just, they're floating. They're called floats, meaning they're decimal numbers, as opposed to whole numbers, which are integers. If you recall in the last video, we used int for int, and we're using whole numbers. Now I'm going to use floats, okay? So x equals 0. Okay, and we'll do another one, and we'll just call this one y equals 0. Okay, now, if I run the sketch, it'll run, right? If I make this 0.5, it'll run. If I change this to an int, it will not run. See that? You can't convert to float to an int. So integers are whole numbers. Okay, for example, if this was 5, it would run just fine. Floats, floating decimal. Float. Okay, and we're going to make this one for now 0. Okay, so we have two numbers here, or two variables, and they're both right now assigned the value of 0. Okay, cool. So let's move on now. Now, what we need to do is so this is the name of our class, but let's actually set up what's called the constructor, which is the stuff that's needed for this class to function. All right, and how you do that is you've seen this actually quite a bit, but name of the class, and then you need open and close parentheses, and we will actually add some stuff here later, but we're not going to add anything to it right yet. Okay, we're going to leave it blank. And we'll actually put a whole bunch of cool stuff in here. So anyway, down below are the functions, okay? And that's what's so cool about creating a class, is that yes, this class is going to represent this image. It's also going to represent a bunch of functions or contain a bunch of functions. So when you call on the class leaf, it's going to be this image plus some functions. You know, for example, it's going to move and it's going to have some gravity, okay? So, but we're going to keep things real simple right now. And we're going to create a function that just makes the image display. Okay, so let's go ahead and do void run, because we need these functions to run. Okay, and then within that, let's create a specific function, display. Okay, now display is just, I could call this whatever I want. Okay, I could call it show or whatever, but just display image. This image is going to display. So fine, our first function is that something must run. Okay, and when it runs, it displays. Okay, great. So we don't know yet what display is though. We have to define what display is. So again, void, and our next one is display. Okay, so are you following me here? We're creating functions. The first function is something has to run. And when it runs, what's it do? It displays. What is display? Well, we have to say what display is. Okay? And in this case, what we want to display is an image. Okay? And let's look at what we have over here. We have img for our image. Okay? And remember, img has been assigned this file. Okay? So this file has been assigned to the variable img. Okay, so over here in display, what do we want to display? We want to display an image. Now you've seen this in the last video. We're going to do that same thing again, where we have image, the variable that represents this leaf, and then we have two coordinates. Okay, x and y. Okay, yes, we could actually have whatever coordinates, but in this case we're going to have x and y because we have variables that we can work with. Okay, so x and y. Okay, and you know they're initialized as 0 right now, but we can actually, you'll see, we'll actually be able to, because they're variables, we can put them wherever we want to, assign any value that we want there. So we've done this so far. Okay, now let's jump back over to this side. Okay, so let's see here. Just like we have this data type and this variable, so this variable is automatically a p-image data type. And so what I want to do now is I just want to type in leaf, just like p-image. Okay, we have leaf or p-image img, p-image bg, and we're going to have leaf myleaf, just like that. Okay, semicolon. Okay, so you can see already what we're doing here is right here in image, we're using this p-image class, and we're chained down to all of the functions that are included in this p-image class. But in leaf, we are only chained down based on what we've put in here for functions. We can keep putting more and more functions in here, and this leaf will continually become more and more complex. Okay, that's why it's a custom class. All right, so following the same exact thing that we did here, so we have a data type, this variable. We are going to do the same thing again. So we have a data type, sorry, this variable, and then we took the variable and we loaded up this image. So we're going to do something very, very similar right now, but with our own leaf. Okay, so my leaf, whoops, just like up here, img, bg, my leaf equals. Okay, now instead of load image, because we're not loading an image this time, we are saying that my leaf equals a new instance of leaf. Okay, that's all we have to do. Pretty simple. Okay, now what's the next thing that we need to do? So we have now we have our leaf. It's ready to go. Leaf contains all of this stuff right here, and we have not even gone into the draw block yet, okay? So I can run the sketch still, nothing's broken, but nothing's happening yet. So in the draw block, let's go ahead and run the sketch. How do we do that? Okay, so we have myLeaf, right? myLeaf is a new instance of this class. This class contains some functions, okay? What's the main function here? Run. And when it runs, it displays. And what is display? Display is this image right here. Okay? So all we need to do is add run. So check this out. myLeaf dot run. Okay? And then same exact syntax there, open and close, and semicolon, and let's run the sketch. So there we go. Not that exciting. But what we've done is we have created our own custom class now. And that class is, this leaf. Okay? Not only is it this leaf as an image, but it's this leaf as a function, the function of display. All right? Now we can expand on that and add a lot more functions inside of here. And as we do that, this can become more and more complex. We can actually add movement to this. We can add gravity to it. And here's the cool part. Because it's a class, then we can just call on it again and have 2 leaves that move. Call on it again, have 3, have 4, have, as many as we want. And we've already set up all this information here. And as we add more to it, this will get a lot longer. But as we make a more complex sketch, you'll get to see how powerful this really is. Because right now, I'm sure you're just like, well, yeah, why didn't we just call this image up and put it, at 0 and 0, and it would actually, pop up right here, which would contain this image. But it's the fact that we have actually added not just the image, but some functionality to it. In this case, just display. But we'll do, move and gravity next, and we'll actually make this thing fall and, move at a certain speed, and then we can keep creating more instances of this class, all right? And we're going to do that in the next video because that was quite a bit. Thanks.